Greetings from home, dear ones. This energy of this day is magical beyond your understanding. You have found a vision of your future that very few humans have ever seen. You are accustomed to looking at your history from behind, and for possibly the first time in the evolution of humanity, you have the ability of looking forward in the timeline. Now, there are challenges, there are certainly adjustments that have to take place that we will speak of here this day, for much is in motion. As you have seen from your financial perspective, as you have seen from your astrological perspective, you are now going to hear of Spirit's view of the same perspective. Because basically you went through a change, a major shift. This is what we had predicted and talked about at the end of year of 12-12-12. That portal was much bigger than most people understood. And as we have mentioned, as you went through that energy, you started a wave. And that wave has its precession and its recession. It goes forward and comes back. And many times when it goes forward, you consider that to be the advancement of humanity. And as it washes back, which is its natural reaction, it has a tendency to bring out some of the worst of humanity. Well, that is what you have been experiencing continually on your planet ever since going through that portal. So now you have a new energy starting to land on planet Earth. And it is bringing those things that you have been dreaming of, the possibilities of being conscious creators on your planet. And although we tell you of the greatness of moving into this energy and the tremendous abilities that you will uncover as you do, we also tell you there's a lot of adjustment that needs to take place for this to happen. And that adjustment will be seen as a wave coming in and a wave moving back. Now, the interesting part about that is that you can position yourselves accordingly. You can find where you need to be of highest use, because these waves are not here to overcome you or to expose you in some way. They are not here for you to survive. You actually created the waves and can be in the best position to be carried forward by the same waves that have caused so much difficulty of humanity. So please understand, do not wait for everything to be right. Now is the time of movement on planet Earth. Now is the time, more than anything before, to set things into motion very clearly. You'll see quite a lot of changes as this timeline cross takes place. It will take you all the way through 2015. Fairly close. It will actually end in the middle to late part of November of 2015. That is what you're setting yourself up for. Now, in the meantime, you have all kinds of hot spots all over the planet, which have been part of this wave of energy. For you brought in a wave, but you did not see the recession of it. You basically hid that from yourselves. And these energies are popping up all over the planet in different ways. Some of them are focused around the religion that you call Muslim at this point. Well, we tell you an easy way to see this or to understand this would be simply that these people have a different vision of the timeline. Now, we're going to call it radicalism because in truth, radicalism has happened in almost every religion. This just happens to be focused in one at this moment. And these adjustments that need to take place, not only on the planet itself, but how you adjust to religions, how you basically learn to live in harmony with religions, which have done much good on planet Earth. And yet, if you give your power away to anything completely, it will be problematic in the future. So these are the changes that need to take place. Now, what you are seeing in the timeline is that you believe that everything moving forward has brought advancement, and it has. If you look at your own technologies, it's very easy to calculate the incredible advancements that you had in a very short time. If you look at your spirit rights, in other words, the declaration that you have signed and that many of you are still signing, we tell you many of these seem to be at place at certain times, and these are the key elements. So as you move forward in this timeline and you see all the new technologies, the new energies, the new way of thinking, even a sped up process of your own spirit, instead of going through all the different levels, you have a direct connection now that you can activate very quickly. This is all new energy and quite honestly scares many. Who does it scare? Well, dear ones, you are moving this direction on the timeline, but there are many people who honestly believe in their heart that all of these things that they needed existed in a previous time. We tell you that's not quite true. There was just as many problems back then as there are today, not quite as visible because of the lack of technologies. But nonetheless, they basically believe that if they can take their energies and their lifestyles and their social aspects and go back in time and eliminate all that you have seen as advancement, then they would be happy. They actually believe that everything was in place in the days of Mohammed and wish to go back to those times, reconstructing everything, including the laws that were in effect at those times. Dear ones, this is not the case, but yet, here is the situation. You've got two beings going that are absolutely convinced that this holds the future, and you've got another set of beings going here that absolutely say this holds the future. The reality is you're going to need to step out of the way and let this settle in different areas. The reality is that you as light workers can actually hold some of these keys. How are they working? How is this taking place? Well, it's working truly out of fear, a lack of information, and terror, which has worked quite well. They have even used your technologies to spread this fear. Well, that is the peace, dear ones. You must understand that these parts are not working the way that you thought they would work. And a revision of your view of everything having to do with this is in order. Now, if you understand that these people are working from their heart, you can give them a little leeway. The challenge is they do not know the difference between force versus power. And they have a tendency to use force when they cannot find power. Dear ones, much of this energy will need to be settled by the Muslim community itself. Much of what is happening is almost as if there is a civil war going on between the different factions of this religion. And then you have another party who comes over, whether it be the United States or a coalition of countries. It gives them a common enemy and turns what would be a duality fight into a three-way problem. Now, does that mean you simply walk away and leave the problems there to resolve themselves? No, dear ones, there is a responsibility there as well. But if you start to understand the true situation the way it is, you'll start to see new possibilities. And what of the job of light workers? Well, dear ones, you not only can set an energy of peace, but you can learn to find a way to love those enemies which you are calling enemies. There is no more black and white, dear ones. Everything is now shades of gray. Find a way to find that harmony in some way. And know that many of these people have simply grown up with generational hate passed down from their grandparents to their parents to them, and expected to be carried on, expected to be understood if they were to be a part of this social experiment. Well, now it is starting to change. It will take some time. It is not happening. And those who feel like they are being pushed forward in a new direction are being pushed forward and resenting. They are pushing back. That is basically what is taking place. Now, there will be a settlement of energy, but much of it will come from beings who live in that part of the world already. And to work with the civil wars, to work with responsibilities of what you allow these things to take place. There are many people who are doing business with these companies, with these people who have walked in and taken over certain countries. And yet, they continue to do business with him. Where is the responsibility there? Look to these ways. Look to the possibilities of how you can make this a fight not worth fighting. You'll start to understand more about it. And above all, look at the larger human condition of a lack of love being at the base of all of it. Now, dear ones, we know that humans get frayed. We know that many times they step backwards in their own belief systems when they run across problems they cannot easily resolve. Well, this has happened on a very large scale, and it has given the illusion to them of success. Understand that it's truly the collective that will allow this to take place or will block it. And that can be done with each of you. Not only holding what you will stand for and what is right and wrong in your own hearts, but also the fact that you can open up and try to understand these very scared people who are causing this challenge. You can play the game or you can step aside. That is entirely up to you, dear ones. There is no right or wrong. But if you are playing the game on planet Earth, and if you have decided to be here during these parts, you hold a piece of it. You can visualize. You can hold it in your heart. You can create a sacred space for yourself and all of humanity in the days going forward. Set that into motion. Know that no matter what difficulties, challenges, terror you see in front of you on your televisions, know that you have the capability of reining it all in. Know that you have the capability of transmuting it into love. That's why you came. So watch the events that take place on your planet and try to love anytime you can. Try to find those commonalities between you and your enemies, and you won't have any enemies any longer. That is the new way in the fifth dimension. That is the only way to resolve it. It's with the greatest of honor, and we ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another every chance you get. Play this beautiful game and take responsibility for it. And know that you are loved more than you understand. Aspavo, dear ones.